Hello, hi, and assalamualaikum. My name is Nora Shadah binti Mama Amal, and I'm from N5MC11001A. And today I want to talk about victim blaming culture. So, did you know only in Malaysia, just 2 out of 10 rape cases are reported? If we add the unreported incidents to the approximately 3,000 documented cases each year, arrive at the conclusion that one girl or woman is raped somewhere in Malaysia every 35 minutes. Even worse, girls under the age of 16 make up almost 2 out of every 3 rape victims. So, the reason that most of these victims do not report it is because they are afraid that people will blame them, which is explained our title today, which is victim blaming. Today, I want to inform everyone about how this is what people such as the police normalize in our country. Instead of putting the blame on the perpetrator, how these poor innocent kids are meant to marry their doer, and how we can stop this act. So, recently there is this event called the Anime Fest that has been held on the 12th May this year. In the name itself, it is obvious what kind of event it is, where you can go and cosplay as your favorite character and mingle around people that share the same interests as you. But the problem is, one local cosplayer revealed that she had a bad experience with a stalker. A man abruptly cut through the line and attempted to approach the cosplayer as she was posing for photos with some of her followers. Her friend urged to calm down, and the man started to raise a commotion. It turns out that he had done this multiple times before. She went to the police to report the stalker after being shaken by the meeting. Unfortunately, it turned out the police were not as helpful as she might have thought they would be. She claimed that she got slut shamed and victim blame, as well as she immediately went to the police station without changing her clothes. The officers said that it was because of how she was dressed and that this is the consequences. Moving on to our next one, which is how kids have been victimized or encouraged to marry their doer. So, right-minded Malaysians were outraged by Shabuddin Yahya of UMNO, who represents Tasik Galugu in Penang, claimed that there is nothing wrong with rape victims marrying their attackers, because they would not have to face a bleak future. According to Shabuddin, girls as young as 9 or 12 years old are prepared for marriage. In Malaysia, some people still view women as objects or belongings, or as being somewhat inferior to males in this day and age. A 9-year-old girl is viewed by some as ready to get married, while a 9-year-old boy will be considered to be of school age and playing in the fields. We frequently heard questions like, what was she wearing? Where was she? Did she go out late? Was she drunk? And did she say no when these cases occur? In Malaysia, it appears that there is no justice for these victims. They are insulted, doubted, questioned, and even told to wed the people who abuse them. As in, 3 victims out of 100 receive justice served, even when they have courage to pursue their case via the legal system. So, now that we have discussed about that, next I want to talk about how we can stop this thing from going on any further. Imagine, every time a murder takes place, it is always the murderer's fault. Every time a robbery occurs, it is always the robber's fault. And every time there is the drug trafficking, it is the trafficker's fault. But why is it always the victim's fault when rape occurs? It is time to reject victim blaming as a response to rape and hold those responsible for their acts in order to avoid normalizing rape culture, and rape apologists, who tend to minimize the seriousness of rape by placing the blame on the victim or denying the need of consent. One of the ways to prevent this is by starting with children, because victim blaming behavior is absorbed and acceptable because they learn from the environment that they're in. Take steps to inform them to the value of respecting every gender equality, and consent. To sum it up, if we take proper steps and prevent normalizing improper behavior, we can definitely stop this act. In closing, let me say that this so-called victim blaming culture has been impacting a number of people regardless of gender, religion, or sexual orientation, and their attire is definitely not to blame. It is just the way some people's minds have been shaped by the media and the environment that will lead them to believe that this is what should do when something like this occurs. It's all from me. Thank you very much.